come into it like full like new thing, not knowing what to expect. So yeah.
So why cassettes?
Um
Just a kind of a romantic thing? There's something
yeah.
nostalgic about those
Yeah.
old
I don't know.
mediums.
It's like a lot of like it's a lot of bootleg, like really like underground like punk shows, like old, like concert recordings. People recorded them on tape players on cassettes, and you can find those at record stores and stuff like that. Like I feel like it's more of a niche thing. Vinyl collecting got
It's
like
big
so
now.
big, yeah.
And I
And
don't know why it came back, but it came back
yeah.
hard.
Oh,
Everybody likes vinyl
big
now.
time. Yeah, I started collecting back in like 2019. So yeah, I was part of that wave, I guess, of people like all of a sudden like caring about vinyl again or something. So
I think COVID had
hmm
a little part in that as well. People were stuck at
definitely.
home,
You
got
want that
nostalgic,
physical, you want that, listening to songs on Spotify only does so much. You want that physical item.
and there's a sound
Oh
difference.
yeah.
I don't know if that's just how we interpret it.
I think, see, that's what I was trying to figure out. Is there actually a sound difference, or have people just been saying that for so long that everyone just kind of ran with it? Like, oh yeah, it sounds better, you know?
It's the
I
cool
don't
thing to
know.
say. "Oh, you gotta play this on vinyl.
Oh
It
yeah,
sounds a lot
yeah, it
better."
sounds a lot better, you know? That's I don't even know. Yeah.
So you've been into music for some time then.
I mean, I always tell, like, I don't know the official time, but like, since I was like 8 or 9, I started writing music, started writing raps just out in my bedroom. I was like a little kid, like 8 years old, and I was like watching like a Lil Wayne music video one day or something. I'm like, you know what? Like, he could do it. I could probably do it. Doesn't seem that hard. So I started like writing raps, and obviously they weren't very good at first. Some people might say that they're still not very good, but that's just, music's subjective, so you could like it or not like it. But yeah, I've been doing it for a long time.
8
Yeah.
years old.
8 years
That's
old. Yeah.
crazy. Did you
Yeah.
know that this is what you wanted to do at 8?
Just about, yeah. Before that, it was like the typical like little kid thing, like, oh, I want to be a basketball player. Or, like, I wasn't fucking self-aware of my physical
I
condition
could be
yet.
MJ. I
Yeah,
think that's in the
I'm like,
cards
I
for
could
me.
do that watching Kobe. I'm like, I could do that, but I obviously can't. Um, but the music thing, I'm like, I think that's still within reach, as I got older, like when I was in high school, it's like I don't want to fucking go to college. Like I want to do this. Like I already had it figured out in my head. It might be unrealistic. People might have their opinion about it, but yeah, it's what I wanted to do since I was pretty young.
People love to have their opinions when you
Mm.
say, "Yeah, this is what I want. This is what I wanna
Oh,
do with
oh
my
my!
life."
I love telling like older people that I like make music and I create content and do stuff like that because they just look at me like, "Oh wow, you keep dreaming there, buddy. You keep, like sure you do that, But when reality kicks in, you need to get a real job, and I mean I have a real job, but hopefully someday this will pay off.
What's your real job?
I work at a thrift store. It's nothing glamorous, just something to get some extra money coming in. So
It's a
yeah,
cover until your rap career takes off.
exactly,
You gotta have a
exactly.
humble beginning. We all start
Yeah,
there.
and fucking the TikTok shit, they banned me and shit, so
Yeah, Andy was telling me about
yeah,
that. Actually, that's how we got
yeah,
onto you. Andy showed me some of your stuff.
yeah.
What happened with TikTok? Because you were pretty big on the platform.
I was a pretty big, like, creator. I mean, I still called myself a smaller creator, and I think part of that was just because I live in a small town and, like, I think of myself as just, like, a normal person, but yeah, I had, like, 1.4 m million followers and shit.
That's a
And
lot of people.
yeah, it's a lot. I think of it like this, like Eureka's got what, like 28,000 people in it, and it's like when I had 28,000 people, I'm like, damn, that's like the size of Eureka following me. So it's like 1.4 million is like a fucking lot.
That's
But
a lot of
yeah,
Eurekas.
a lot of Eurekans, a lot of Humboldt Countyans. So yeah, Humboldt County people. But yeah, 1.4 million followers basically just taken from me overnight like that. And
And why?
basically, TikTok didn't give me an official reason, but when I looked at my community guideline violations, sorry, it showed me that within the span of a couple minutes, I had over 100 videos reported and taken down. So I'm chalking it up as a mass, like someone like it's like a targeted thing, like someone was going through and reporting my videos. And that led to TikTok kind of sees that, and instead of looking at it like an actual person, like, with common sense looking at it and being like, determining if what I'm doing actually violates the guidelines, a bot basically sees that, "Oh, this person's getting reported a lot, they must be doing something bad," and they terminated my account, just like that.
Do you think it was a like a bot wave where people it wasn't even real
It c
people, it was
or
just bots?
it could have been that, I don't know, people are I haven't made any enemies or anything, I don't have anyone, I think, unless there's this that's the thing, is, like, the what I chalked it up to is, like, just there's people out there that fucking hate disabled people for no reason other than the fact they're disabled, and I'm like, it coulda just been some random person that saw me and was like, "I don't like that this person's thriving and succeeding," and had my account taken down, and or it could have been, yeah, like someone could have had known I don't know anything about any of that shit with AI and bots, but someone definitely could have done something like that, like just had a bot mass reporting my videos,
Well, 100 videos in a
over a
few mi
hundred. 100's
over
like
100 in a
yeah.
few minutes is an insane amount.
Yeah, like that
That
it do
seems
yeah, it doesn't
like a
feel
concerted
like
effort.
I was going more like paranoid conspiracy theorist, like route, like, "Oh my god, there's this higher this secret society of people that are against me, and they're all just sitting there
Started watching
reporting all my
QAnon
videos."
videos.
Exactly, yeah,
I'm in, I'm
I'm
sold
like,
now.
I'm getting banned on TikTok, I'm just gonna go full fucking, like, conspiracy theorist, like, wackadoodle, fucking crazy person, but no, it probably was like a robot or something, some AI shit, I don't know.
And could you dispute that? Could
Oh,
you
yeah, that's the thing is I tried, they let me submit a mass appeal, like a appeal to dispute all the videos at once. And I did that probably a day or two after it happened because I didn't notice like the button was there at first. I was like emailing them all pissed off, like frantically, like give me my account back and shit. Um, but then when I saw that button, I just pressed it, I gave my reasoning, I sent it off, and that was a month ago, and it's still in review. It's still, like, left they basically left me undelivered, they're ignoring me
from TikTok?
from TikTok.
That one's gotta sting.
It fucking stings, dude. I was down in LA a few weeks ago, and I was like, I gotta just go by their headquarters and start protesting, I don't know, like, I'm out of options at this point because it's like, they basically left me undelivered. I email them every day. It's a daily routine at this point. Maybe I should switch it up, but I have a very worded, very strongly worded paragraph. I copy it, send it to him again. No response at all. I got a response once, and it was a robot, like an automated response, like, "Well, your account has been taken down because you have too many community guideline violations." And it's like, you're not reading what I'm saying. I'm literally telling you, yeah, I have all these violations because someone like had my shit taken down. Like it's not like all the videos, like they're harmless, they're not anything, like, yeah, my comedy could be I make a couple dark jokes about my disability, I do some shit like that, but it isn't in violation of any of their community guidelines, it's just dark humor, me making a joke about myself, and so it's like, I don't know, it's like there's no, human communication going on between me and TikTok, it's me basically just
You're
yelling in the
screaming into the
wind.
void.
Exactly, I'm yelling into the void, and it's like, what else is there to do at this point? Just I don't know.
That's what worries me about people, getting canceled,
Yeah,
is what can you really do? You have no power against these companies,
I
especially a
know.
company like TikTok. They've got so many people on that, they
Yeah,
don't care.
they do not care, they just go on to the next one, there's no transparency, there's no real, like, hospitality or human connection, it's all just, like, numbers, all they care about is the numbers, and I'm not gonna lie, before I got banned, like, I wasn't, like I'd go through spurts or, like, I'd have a couple videos do, like, good, like, couple million, but, like, I was, like, on average, like, getting, like, 20 to 50K views a video, which is still, like, a lot of people, for me. But, it wasn't like it used to be, and the way I thought is like, "Oh, they're like, oh, this person's not making us the big bucks anymore, we're just gonna cut him out of the equation and go on to the next person. So, yeah, but I'm still like on the platform. I have two other accounts that I post on, but like it's like very very seldom that I get a lot of views on those
Is that
accounts.
just because of the grind of putting all that work into your main account?
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Like I neglected the other two accounts for so long that like now they're seen as smaller creator accounts. And TikTok, that's the thing. That's the other thing that pisses me off is if you're a smaller creator and you want to get out there, they want you to pay to like promote. They're like, oh, we have the TikTok promote feature. It's how you reach a new audience. And like what they don't tell you is it's like $20 a day or something to fucking promote your shit. And it's like they just want money. They don't care about anything else. And that's the truth with a lot of these big social media companies, like people like me that have an audience like that, like 1.4 million followers or whatever, like we're probably making them so much money by putting time and effort into creating videos on their platform. And they pay us like it's literally they're paying us pennies to the dollar. When you make a dime, your boss makes a dollar type of shit. And that's how it is with TikTok.
Does TikTok pay creators directly?
Yeah, they do. It's called the Creator Fund, and actually, when I first started on it, it was a smaller thing because this was like 2 or 3 years ago. This was pre-COVID and shit, so it wasn't like as big of a, or no, it wasn't pre-COVID, but like,
Right around the start?
right around the start is when I started making content and being able to make money. It was like May of 2020, so like, around like it was just picking up and shit. Um, and like around I didn't really see it start to pay off till around November when I really started blowing up and I was gaining like hundreds of thousands of followers a week. Um and um yeah, and like when I was like at my peak and stuff, like I want to say around from November to like February or March of 2021, like that was when my content was like I was like cuz it's always like there's a new guy on TikTok. Like when you're on your For You page, there's a new funny guy or funny girl or funny person that you see pop up on your thing and you're like, "Oh, they're funny and they're gaining millions of views for their videos and stuff." And there's a time where I was that funny guy on TikTok and gaining all the views and shit. And it was paying well at that point, like, it was good, and then,
What are we talking? How much are you making from TikTok?
best month so this is, like, they pay you monthly, and it's not, like, crazy money, that's the other like, I'm talking it up like it's, like, I'm making, like, 6 figures, but it's not, like, crazy money, but, like, for someone like me that's only worked minimum wage jobs, it was like t 2 grand a month, couple grand a month, so it was like the same as, like, if I was putting in 40 hours a week at a job and I'm just making some stupid videos from
Which is
my
a
bedroom.
great trade
Oh,
to
yeah.
just make
Oh.
TikToks or
Oh, yeah.
go work 40 hours at a job
Exactly,
you
and that's
hate.
how I was seeing it for a while there. Is like, about to go begging on my hands and knees back at my old job that I had before COVID, like, "Take me back," and now it's like, "Fuck, I'm on TikTok, like, making these stupid videos about the fact that I can't take a piss standing up." And I'm fucking making all this money and people are eating it up. It's like I'm fucking loving it. And on top of that, there's branded content, which like isn't my favorite. I honestly fucking hate making videos for other people. I hate making branded content, but like that brings them money as well. Like I've been offered like couple thousand to promote shit, and it's like that's like easy money right there. Just wave a product and you get some money, but it's like I don't know. I don't like making content for other people. All the shit that I was doing, like yeah, people ate it up and it like encouraged me to keep doing it, but I was ultimately doing it for myself because it's like you know, we had COVID going on and shit, and I'm just in my bedroom losing my mind. It's like it's more fun to go out and make a stupid video and make a stupid joke, make me feel better about myself, even if what I'm saying is like, this dark shit about my disability and whatnot. Like it's still like I'm fucking loving every second of it, and that's how it was. Like I honestly like I hope you like doing what you do with this like content creating shit with this podcast because like I miss, like, genuinely enjoying making videos because, I mean, now with being banned and even a little before I got banned, like, I wasn't enjoying it very much, you know? Like, I wasn't like, all the fun had been taken out because it was like, I was starting to question who I was doing it for. Like, was I doing it for myself and because I enjoy it, or was I doing it because I once had this momentum and I was trying to keep it up and, like, get it back, you know?
You hear that a lot.
Yeah.
The idea when people blow up and their shit starts really taking off and then they kind of are a prisoner to that,
Yeah.
then they're just doing these things that
Yeah.
maybe they don't wanna do to try to keep up that
Oh, totally.
that flame.
Totally, because they tell you in like, on TikTok, like, I had so many, like, other big creators tell me, like, "You have a niche," like, you calling yourself a retard and making a, self-deprecating joke, like, that is, like, gaining the views. You need to keep doing that, and you need to, don't stop, foot to the pedal, just, like, full speed, keep going at it. And I was like, I don't know if I wanna, like, only do that, like, that doesn't sound fun. Because then I make a video and I'm, like, promoting my album, like, "Yo, I made this, like, piece of art that I put a lot of time and effort into, and I really enjoy it." Um, the algorithm's just like, "Nah, people don't wanna see that," "People don't wanna see your little art project you made. They wanna see you, fucking making fun of yourself." And so, yeah, it could be a big, like, blow to your not only your confidence, but just your, like, passion, and your, like, drive to, like, create this content.
Well, and that's what's really interesting about your content is a lot of it was self-deprecating,
Yeah,
and that's weird why you were banned is, you were the butt of your own jokes.
exactly. And that's the thing is I'll scroll through TikTok, like, I'm sure I could go on my TikTok right now, and I'll see someone on my For You page that's making a joke, a dark joke or whatnot, that's directed at another group, directed at someone else, and they're not making themselves the butt of the jokes. Like a type of content that I really hate, I'm not gonna get too off track here, but I really hate little me drinking beer ASMR for the mic.
Little
But
something for the people.
little something for the people. People always want me to do weird shit like ASMR or like I don't know how many people have like unironically asked me to like start a OnlyFans or some fucking weird shit like that. But I give them to it a little bit. I'll show my feet on camera every once in a while just for those like those oddballs that are looking for that type of stuff. Um Anyway, the type of content that I really hate is, like, the shit where they're making other people the butt of the joke, and it's like there's, like I'm not gonna drop names or fucking get you in any trouble, but there's, like, these dudes on the internet that'll, like, go out and, like, they'll, go out in public and, like, moan in people's ears or just, like, harass people in public and shit,
I don't like
and
that
they're
shit.
no, it's fucking like, they're not like, everyone else is the butt of the joke but them, and it's like, that type of content, it's just like, I put myself if I was at a grocery store and someone came up and moaned in my ear, I'd be so fucking pissed off, I'd be like and I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but, like, that shit was like, I don't know. It
The
just
ones that really bother me, I've seen ones where people pretend to be employees at a store and
yeah,
then go and fire another
yeah,
employee, and the
yeah,
person, breaks down because
yeah,
they need the job or they
and
don't understand what's happening.
it's
Why would you do
it's
that? Why are you
not
trying to fuck up
funny.
somebody's
It's
day?
not funny. I don't, like, gain I gain, um, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's just not enjoyable to watch,
Yeah.
basically. It's
I
just
can't
like
imagine you get a good feeling
yeah,
doing that to
yeah, I don't
somebody.
I don't gain pleasure from seeing, like, other, like, innocent people that don't even know there's a camera recording them, like, like, getting hurt, like, it's just not I don't know. I don't get how you have to be a pretty fucked up type of person to, like, genuinely enjoy that shit and, like, eat it up, and people do.
I don't even know if they enjoy it, the people that are making it. I think some people watch it and do laugh because
Yeah.
you're not the butt of the joke, so you can
Yeah,
laugh at it.
exactly.
I think the people creating it might just get wrapped up in that same thing of now I have to do this because I have to get the views, I have to get the
Yeah.
likes.
And that's definitely giving them the benefit of the doubt because, like, I've been there, obviously, it's a different story, and, like, I don't agree with the content, but, yeah, like, like, my biggest video on the platform when I was on got 40 million views. It got 10 million views overnight. And it was a video of me. I was about like 5 or 6 beers deep, just sitting on my front porch. And I had it panned on my bare feet, and I go like wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then I turn my camera around, and I'm obviously very intoxicated. And I say like, I'm retarded. And that's just like the entire video. And people ate that shit up. People thought it was the funniest shit ever for no reason. Like I went on the next day, and if it wasn't for the 10 million views I had got on that video, I would have deleted it, you know. I'm like, this is dumb, but people were eating it up and following me. So that's how I broke 1 million followers. Actually, was that video, and I'm just like, this is the dumbest shit. You know, it's like I don't
So
know.
what was your time frame like? So you joined the platform. Did you start with that self-deprecating humor, or did you start with other types of
I
content?
mean, I was on the platform from because it was called Musically before it was TikTok. It was a whole nother thing, and it was
Oh
mainly
shit, I
like
thought I thought those were two separate
no,
platforms. It was the
they
same
got
thing.
yeah, it was the same thing. They got bought out by like another company. I don't know my facts on that one. But like I think they got bought out by another company and they changed to TikTok. And at first they were still focusing on like lip syncing and like music and stuff like that. But people started using it ironically as like, oh, you know, just like making ironic videos or like, you know, satire, I guess. And I ate that up and I started just as a viewer. And I was in high school and me and my friends would make like dumb videos and I think I made one video um my first video on the platform was I think I was in the car. This was like when I was in high school. I was a fucking senior in high school. I zits like all over my face and I'm in the car, braces on and shit. I looked fucking rancid. Oh, my phone's geeking out. Um, and I was just like, oh, I'm about to come. And then I pan the phone over and my mom's sitting right next
Oh
to me.
no.
And that shit got like
Oh no.
that shit
Oh, your poor mom.
my poor mom, and my mom endured a lot more. Like that was just the start, obviously, but like that video, that was in like 2019, and it got like 70K, and so I got like a little bit off of that. Like I think I gained like 1,000 followers off of that, and then I just like would do other dumb shit that like would get like a couple views here and there. I think I had another one where like I had the phone and like I grabbed a piece of ham out of the refrigerator and I went into my brother's room and threw it at him. And he looks up and he's like, "Why are you naked?" And then the video just cuts. And that was the type of shit that I was on like
So you were
really
just making
early.
funny
Oh
videos.
yeah,
You
I
were
was
just
just
having fun.
making funny videos, doing like stupid shit with my friends, and it was fun. And like I would get a video that would get like 70 to like 100K here and there, but I wasn't thinking of it as anything. You know, I was just like, oh, this somehow blew up. Wasn't thinking of it as a career or nothing. And then I'd like promote my music, obviously, and do that, and that didn't do anything. That didn't gain like any traction at all. Um, and so that's how it was for me from like 2018, 2019 to like early 2020. And then yeah, when COVID started, like there's that like month or two where I was just like, I think I watched Breaking Bad for the first time and just was kind of laying in bed all day. And then I was just scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, there's like some trends that were popping, and I'm like, you know what, like I feel like I could do this trend, but also add in like make it a joke about my disability and like, you know, make myself like the butt of the joke. So I started doing that and it started like right away. Like I was seeing the payoff from it, you know, like May 2020. Um, not money wise, but just like
In views.
views and followers and shit. And I just kept at it for like through that whole summer, just like I wasn't like a grind at that point. I wasn't on the like mindset of like, okay, I gotta post like twice a day at these times and this to gain these many views. It was just like, oh, I have a video idea, let's do it. Like my 20K followers that I have or whatever will like eat it up, you know. Um and so it was like that. And then yeah, in like November, December of 2020, I started doing these videos where I would do like an outfit check, like a fit check, and I like like set the camera up, and I'd be like, "Yo, what's up, guys? It's Louis. I'm here with another fit check." Um, what was one that I said? Like something about like I know I'm disabled, and like it might be a shocker that my legs work, but I could tell you one thing: my dick doesn't, or like something like that. Cause I was on Lexapro at the time, so like I was a limp noodle down there, So I was just like
You were just
depressed
having a
as
good
shit.
time.
Yeah, I was like on medication, making these fucking trying to find a little bit of humor in my life, cause like I won't even get into the like medication talk, that shit just made me feel like nothing. So I'm like, these videos gotta make me, feel a little bit of something. So that's what I was doing at that time. And yeah, that's like what really started popping off for me were like the fit checks, and like I'm like, hey, like I see a formula here, people are like feeling like it's like something normal, like, oh, I'm doing like an outfit check, but then just like hitting them with that like hard curveball that they're not expecting. And like a lot of the comments I get is like, am I allowed to laugh at this? Like this is like I don't want to get canceled. Like, can I laugh at this? I'm like, I'm the one that made the fucking joke. Like you can laugh. Like I made the joke. I expect you to laugh. It would be weird if I made a joke and no one laughed. No one likes doing that. So yeah, that was really how it took off, was those like fit check videos and this other videos where I was making a this very dark joke that people weren't sure if they could laugh at. And yeah, so that's how it started, and I kept it going like that, and I got into like doing skits and other stuff, and just like trying to I at first I stayed very topical. I was very up on all the trends and everything that was going on, so it was easy to keep gaining momentum. But I got like hella burnt out of doing all that, doing trend shit, doing like staying up to date, scrolling through TikTok. Just it was like studying almost. I'd spend like an hour or two every day just scrolling through, seeing like what other people are posting to be like, okay, what should I be doing? And I got hella burnt out of that because I'm like, this isn't like it got unenjoyable like really fast.
Yeah, it gets I mean, a lot of people say that. I've heard with YouTube is they try to study the algorithm.
YouTube's hard. I'm still like I only have like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I've only really posted music videos. I don't think that I would have like even that many if I wasn't posting music videos, but like YouTube's fucking hard. Like every time I try to make like a comedy video for YouTube, like a longer form video, I think part of it is being in COVID and just doing TikTok for so long. I got so used to like the short form under a minute videos. You don't have to like plan anything out super long term with that shit. It's just like, oh, here, stand here and record me saying this and then cut to this, and then that's the video. It's not like, okay, we're gonna go here and film something and go to this film location and we need to get this and this and this, because whenever I try to do a YouTube video, it's like I do all this planning and then I like start making it and I'm just like I'm already burnt out.
It's
So
like a
it's like
film
it's
production.
exactly like that's why I'm so impressed with all of this. I'm like, damn, I would not have the time and energy to like put into like building a whole ass studio to make content.
Well, this is a lot easier in that
Right.
we just show up and sit
You
down.
and
We're not
talk. It's just
yeah.
like we're just having some beers and talking. Sorry, I keep like yelling. I talk very loud. Maybe I should sit a little farther
No
away
worries. I
because
think
I just
how we doing on that?
yeah. How's
I
the
see Andy.
sound doing?
Andy's over there putting
I
in some
saw him
work.
turning knobs every time I would yell,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to. I don't want to hurt your ears too much, but
It's a
I'm not.
clipping thing. If you
Oh
these
yeah,
mics are I mean, I don't know how to tell
yeah.
you.
No, I
You
know. I
clip
know all
out.
about all that. So yeah, it's all good as
So
long as.
when did the TikTok thing become a realization of, "Oh shit, this could be something." Like I'm starting to get some serious traction. Maybe I can do something with
When
this.
when Mia Khalifa followed me back on
No
TikTok.
fucking
No, I'm
shit.
kidding. Yeah,
Wow.
that
Oh,
was
I thought that was real.
no,
Oh
no.
my.
She did
Oh,
follow me.
what?
Yeah, she did follow me. But yeah,
What?
she was probably the most famous
For people
person.
that don't know, would you like to say who Mia Khalifa is just for our audience that isn't quite as educated on
She
the
is a
topic?
former. I don't. I have a lot of respect for her, so I will not. I don't know because I know she has a rough past with the whole porn thing. I know she got like didn't get paid a lot and all that shit, but she is a professional adult film actress, and
So
a
she
she's
fucking followed
she
you.
followed me. She's cool, yeah.
Pull up
We
how much she makes, because I think it was something
oh,
absurd,
it's
like a
crazy.
couple
I think
grand.
she is on OnlyFans now, actually. So
Good for
I
her.
think
I
yeah,
think she only made, I want to say it was like
it was
under
like
five
I
grand.
think it was like 20 maybe,
Oh, maybe
maybe
I'm way
20,
off. But still, for the amount of views,
12.
twelve
That's
thousand
about in the
dollars.
middle of what? Yeah.
Khalifa shattered any illusions regarding the pay in the adult film industry on Monday, saying on Twitter she received about $12,000 for about a dozen shoots over 3 months before she left the industry in early 2015. 12 grand.
12 grand.
I don't think I would not do porn for 12 grand.
I wouldn't, no.
We're gonna have to add a lot of zeros at the end of that.
Sure. Yeah, I do show my feet for free, and what I'm
But that's
told,
different.
like,
That's like branding. Then hey,
it's
if you want to
branding.
see
It's
more,
yeah.
follow and subscribe.
There's this picture that I flash a lot, like in random videos. It's like a jump scare where it's like picture on my foot with like spaghetti on it. Cause I guess one day I was eating spaghetti barefoot and I spilled spaghetti on my foot, and I just took a picture of it because I thought it was funny, and it ended up becoming a big part of my branding and shit. With like my crippled like bare foot with spaghetti all over it.
Andy, you already know what to do. We got to see that.
You gotta look it up. I'm
Um,
sure. Look up Not Louis Spaghetti Foot.
so she follows you, and are you just shitting your pants? What's going
This
through your
is the
head?
first like big famous person to follow me, and I was like, oh, like you could probably find it on. I don't know if they'll let you watch those videos because that's on my account that is now deleted. Man, I could like email you a picture of it or something if you want to pop it up there. It's not that. It's not that. But yeah, I do have it on me. I gotta. Yeah.
Send it to the Growing Pains
I will
Instagram,
send
and
that
he'll get
shit
it.
right now.
So she was the first person that followed you that just had that universal recognition of,
Oh,
oh, I know who this is.
yeah,
This is somebody big.
yeah. First, and I'm trying to think. I had a lot of people that like. What's the IG? Is it? It's Growing Pains.
It's Growing Pains NF.
Growing Pains enough.
Casual plug for the podcast right there for anybody that wants to follow that.
Very. That's a very natural plug. That's good. Yeah. Growing Pains and yeah. I got this shit like in my favorites, so it's just like ready to go
You
whenever
just
I need
prepared
it.
for a moment like this.
Oh yeah. Big
Hey,
moment.
I got a picture you might want to see.
Yeah. You're interested, if you're into something of the sort, there you go. Very classic picture.
Image is
The
blurred.
blurred.
Tap it, and it'll reveal it.
Yeah, so that's like my whole brand right there is that image.
So I'll plug it in. I'll plug it in
You
at the
can
end. Yeah, we'll
in
get pulled.
post, yeah.
She so she follows you. Then what? What's
I just
happening?
messaged her like,
Oh,
"Hey,
you hit
thanks
her
for the."
up.
I just messaged her like, "Hey, thanks for the." I wasn't gonna be like big
Hey,
fan
if
of
you're
your
ever in
work. Yeah,
Eureka,
yeah. If you're ever in Eureka, hit me up. I was like, "Hey, thanks for the follow back," and she's just like, "OMG, of course you're like so funny." And like that's, I think I only hit her up that time. I wasn't gonna bug the shit out of her, but she'd like comment on my videos like LMAO, and then all the comments would be like, "Yo, Louis, you got Mia Khalifa in your comments, and yo, you're getting that." And I'm like, "No, I have a girlfriend." And I'm good, you know. Respect to Miss Khalifa though, you know, for following me.
so that's when you realize this could be something.
Yeah, when like big people started following me. That's basically what I was getting to when like verified people and like you know, like artists and stuff, like when they started following me, I'm like, okay, like I could make connections here and shit, you know, and I could like do that, and I have, and like I have like, you know, I've like made connections like on a greater level with some people, other people, like now that like I am banned, like it's like, damn, I don't know if I'll ever like get an opportunity to like message this person again, like I don't know if you do you know what the H3 podcast is? They're like one of the bigger podcasts on YouTube.
I think I've heard about
Yeah,
them.
Ethan Klein. They've been on YouTube for a long time. He's like the other like big one of the big people that like I was like a big fan of his work and stuff, and like he followed me and I was like, oh my god, like, like this dude's following me and like hit him up and like they sent me some clothing and shit. And now it's like I got my shit taken away from me and I'm like, damn, I don't have that connection
Yeah, it's not
anymore.
like you have their cell phone
I
numbers.
don't know. It's like I have like he has my email, I don't have his, so it's like, like fuck, there's like I messaged him on Instagram like, yo, I got my account deleted, like hoping that he could fucking have me on his podcast, I could talk my shit and maybe someone from TikTok would see it, but you know, I don't know.
We'll email this to TikTok
Yeah.
for you.
Oh yeah, you
I
never know.
wouldn't
They
hold my
could
breath,
just
but
no, but yeah. I
so when did it switch from, "Oh, this is I'm doing this for fun," and then, "Now I'm doing this because I need to get the views?"
when the views started slumping and like I was chasing the niche, that people were telling me to lean into, because I started like there's a period from like November 2020 to like and even a little before that till like March or April of 2021 where like I was like I had music and I was putting it out, but I wasn't recording a lot of new music because I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this TikTok thing. Like I'm trying to do this now." Even though music was like my main passion and like one of the main reasons I downloaded TikTok other than for the ironic, like the shit posting and stuff like that. Um, I was like very passionate about my music and like when I lost the passion for that, I gained the passion for doing the comedy videos. And then I started, when I started trying to promote my music and do other shit and the views slumped off, I'm like, ugh, I have to like lean into this niche now, to like even get views. And that's when it started becoming somewhat unenjoyable when it started feeling like a chore and not just like a natural part of my day. Like, oh, like I'm bored, I'm gonna post a TikTok for fun. It's like, I don't really want to do this, but like my account needs the views and like I need to make the money in the creator fund, so I gotta do it. And that's when I started losing a bit of enjoyment for it. It definitely wasn't like full on like fuck this, but it was like, okay, this isn't as fun as it once was.
It started changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that idea of chasing the dragon,
Yeah.
I think it hits a lot of people.
Yeah. It definitely hit me hard, and I've talked to a lot of other, like, people that, it's the same. They're like, "Yeah, it kinda fucking sucks, but you just gotta do it," you know? And I didn't like that. I didn't wanna accept
That's
that
shitty
of yeah.
advice.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you just gotta do it. You gotta lean in. I think I only ever had one friend, like, one fellow, like, creator that told me, like, "Don't listen to that, like, it's bullshit." Everyone else is just like, "Yeah, lean into the niche. You have to, you have to." And it's like, I don't wanna fucking do that, and it's true, it's not even like they're giving me, like, bad advice, it's like, that's how TikTok works, there's, like it's just like, if you wanna succeed there, you kinda just gotta do it, and it's like, that's what makes it not fun.
The idea of the niche, I have mixed feelings about that. I
I
mean, if
do
I
too.
listened to everybody that had advice for me on this podcast, it would look completely
Yeah.
different.
It'd be a totally different thing, you kinda just gotta I don't know. I take all advice with a grain of salt. Good advice, bad advice. I just take it all with a grain of salt because at the end of the day, I'm gonna make my own decisions no matter what, and like I'm not gonna do something because someone else like told me it's the right thing to do. And that's why I stopped like going to college and like doing shit like that because I'm like I'm not doing this because I want to do it. I'm doing it because it's like what my family expects of me, and it's like what most older people, most, like, grown people expect from me. They ask me what I'm up to, expecting me to be like, "Oh, I'm going to college, I'm taking classes," when really it's like, "Oh, I'm making music, like, I just made an album," or like, "I'm making these videos on TikTok," and they're just kinda like, "Oh, o okay then." Like, they're not it just throws them off.
Well, they're from a different world,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Our parents, our grandparents, they come from a time when that was not you couldn't even think of that as
Yeah,
being
you
an
couldn't
option.
fathom it, it
They
wasn't
didn't
like
even have
a
the internet.
yeah. So it's like they can't imagine like someone like someone like me like creating stuff and putting it out there and seeing like compensation for it and it having like an incentive, they're like that's like unfathomable for them. So it's like I don't I'm not hurt by the like bitter look or like the like, thrown off a look that I get when I tell them that, but it's like I expect it, I anticipate it every time someone asks me what I'm doing, and I'm like, "I'm making music," I'm making content, and they're just kinda like, "Okay, good luck with that."
I don't even say. I I get asked and I just say, "Yeah, I'm working."
Yeah, say
Just
at
leave it
least
at that.
yeah, at least they if they really start trying to say you have a radio show or something, because that's to them,
That's my
that's
go-to
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'll say, "Oh, yeah, if they keep pressing or normally it's my parents will say, "Oh, he does a podcast," or somebody
and
around me
they'll
will
be
say
like
that. I'll
yeah,
be like, "Oh, shit, now we have to talk about this."
yeah,
And then you get the follow-up of, "What is
yeah,
that?"
yeah,
You just
that's
talk to it's like a radio show,
it's like a
but you
radio,
can't
just
call in,
yeah.
and it's just you're in a room
Yeah.
talking.
Dude, that's how it is with, like, because my parents are very proud of me. They're, like, my biggest supporters and shit, and they definitely, like, they tell everyone what I do, and most people do not understand it at all, so, like, they, like, spread my they everyone knows my business and shit, and, like, when people ask, like, "Oh, what kind of music does he make?" They're like, it's, like, different, it's alternative," or, like, I even tell them to say rap or something, even though, like, rap is, like, putting it very loosely, because I mix genres a lot and shit, so, like, I'm just like, people like to ask questions, and I'm just like, they don't need to be knowing my business, I don't know. But I put it out there for anyone to perceive and interpret, so I guess even the older generation that might not come across it's gotta know about it at some point.
How would you classify your music? Would you put it in a genre, or it's kinda genre
I
bending in
don't
that way that it goes across a
yeah,
bunch?
I don't like it's alternative, it's indie, it's rap, it's all like cloud rap, SoundCloud rap. Not SoundCloud rap in the sense of like the like bass cat, like, rappers like Lil Pump and shit, but it's like
Cracked out on
like
lane.
yeah, like it's like cloud rap, like I emo rap, that genre is kind of like oversaturated and abused now. But it could be all of the above. It could, I don't really like explaining my music too in depth. Like I'll give it a genre to people that ask, but I don't like explaining my lyrics or explaining like too much about it, because I believe ultimately it's up for interpretation. That's how it should be. That's how all art, everything that's created, you know, should be. It should be up for interpretation. And I do that with my videos too. Like sometimes there'll be like a line or a joke, and people might be like, "Oh, I wonder what he meant by that," or like what's like is there like a satirical, like, is this a satire on something and I don't realize it? Like I like for everything to be up for interpretation.
Well, it's gonna be that way regardless,
Yeah,
right? That's a good
regard
mindset to have
oh,
going into it
oh,
is everybody's
totally,
gonna interpret what they want from it.
totally, yeah, and, like, I like to just keep it that way and don't give them anything to just, like, don't give them, like, the easy way out of it. When someone listens to my music, I want them to interpret it fully themselves. I don't want, me to, like, assist them at all, like, be like, "Oh, yeah, I meant this when I said this in this line," like, I want them to figure it out themselves. So, yeah.
Good catch, Andy. Uh,
Forgot to turn the
Forgot to
sign
turn on the light.
on.
You
Yeah.
beat me to the studio today. I was across the street, but we're gonna count that as that's the first one of how many? We're like 90 something in. That's the first time someone's been here before me.
Damn.
That's an
Yeah.
award. We gotta get you a little plaque for
I
that.
live hell yeah, yeah. I live pretty close. So it was I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be early. I hope they're not like in the middle of something else. And
No, normally Andy and I are just in here shooting shit,
yeah,
watching videos of yours, or
right.
watching somebody's TikTok, or watching music videos,
Mhm.
just hanging out. You got to get in a headspace when you're gonna sit down and talk for a little
Yeah,
while.
oh totally. I totally understand it. Yeah, I really like the vibe y'all got going on here. It's really cool. So
Yeah, it's been fun.
yeah.
It's just a cool, relaxed space. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing. Is you want people to come in here and say, "Oh, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a cool time."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, with your music, do you record music videos for all those songs?
Not all of them. I think I have like 5 music videos out on YouTube at this point. It's not a lot. There's kinda, I make them for songs, like a lot of times it's just me and my friends hanging out, and it's sporadically like, "Oh, let's make a music video for this song." Like, I have a good idea, and we'll like go to a location or do whatever. We always there's always someone with a camera, someone. At worst comes to worst, we shoot it on the iPhone. It's like there's always some way to like create a music video like with just our natural surroundings. Um, and so I just make them whenever they come to my mind, whenever I have an idea. My first music video I ever made was for just like a random throwaway song that I have. And me and my friend were just hanging out and we were like getting fucking shit faced. His parents are out of town and we were just getting drunk and I fucking puked and rallied, like, I threw up, and then I was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna go like, I'm gonna take another shot, and we're gonna fucking record a music video right now," and I took a shot, took a bong rip, and we went and fucking recorded this music video, and it was pretty lit.
And
Yeah,
so you
so
shooting, recording, you're editing
yeah.
all by yourself?
I do just about like, I have a producer, shout out Corey, shout out Bumble Crow, that's the name he goes under, he's, like, a longtime friend of mine and a producer, and he's great, and he produced this entire album, and I have other homies that, like, produce and stuff too, so, I don't produce, like, I mainly do the writing and, like, some of the mixing on my vocals and stuff, like, I have it mastered by Corey and, like, have it mixed a lot of times by him too. Um, but as far as like writing, creative direction, like I had these CDs made. I went through a company obviously, but like I had the CDs made like all by myself, like I put the money that I made off my music and shit into having CDs made. So it's like, yeah, I'm pretty much just like DIY, like me, myself, and I like I'll pay for art every once in a while or pay for this or that. Yeah, I'm basically doing this shit by myself with like a couple close friends around.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
You
Like
get
I
a lot
don't.
more out of it that way,
Oh yeah. Thank
and
you.
you
I
can
wasn't.
keep it.
Is it cool to chief up in here? Oh hell yeah. I'm gonna break this open then. This is what strain is this? Do you smoke? Will you go
Yeah.
chief it? Yeah.
So, with your album, what was why a CD? What was the decision with that? Were you just thinking you wanted to have some
So
physical version of it?
yeah, so I mean, people say CDs are like kind of coming back, like the whole Y2K like style with like having CDs and having your Discman or whatever. Like people say that that's coming back and that it's gonna be like the new thing. Like vinyl was popping for a bit, and people say CDs are coming back. I also just already collected CDs, and I found CDs like to be a good like vinyl was too expensive and cassettes are too niche. So I thought CDs were a good medium where it's like not everyone, but lots of cars will have CD players in them. Not hard to find a CD player. It's a pretty accessible piece of media still. I feel like it's not too outdated. Like it is a little outdated, but it's not too outdated to where
It's
it's
not a
like
cassette, like we were
it's like
talking about. You're
cassettes are
still
so
a
outdated. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
you're
so
a couple
niche.
steps up.
Yeah. And so I felt like it was like the move to do a CD. And I just like I said, I already collected them myself, so I kind of had that bias like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a CD. And so yeah, that's
Can
why
I
I
see
did that.
that?
Yeah, it's for
I'm
you. You guys like I
oh,
brought yeah,
sweet.
it's a
Now
gift.
we're gonna have to get a
Yeah.
CD player in
Yeah,
here.
I didn't bring it just to wave it and
I
then
just
dip
hold it up in
out.
front of the camera.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm digging the artwork on here.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my homies did that. And then I did the art on the back and on the inside. And yeah, that's like I have like at most like 3 people that I work with, 3 or 4.
I can't tell you the last time I held a physical CD. I
I'm
might have been
glad I
in
could be.
I might have been in maybe high school,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
I'm sorry, did you say you did the artwork or you had a friend that did that?
A friend did that one, and then I did like the art on the
On
back
the
and on the
on the
inside.
inside.
Yeah, for sure.
That's badass, man. What is it like? I mean, this must be a gratifying feeling
Oh,
to
dude, it
finally
was it
have your
was
music.
surreal holding it like in my hand for the first time. It was crazy. I was like, that, like, when I got it, like, I was almost like I don't cry often, but I was like, I didn't cry, and I didn't cry then, but, like, I was almost like, this is, like, I created this, and I made this, and it's, like, in my hand, and I have 300 copies of it sitting in front of me, and I don't know how to move them. So,
300.
yeah,
What was the price for 300?
it's, like, $1,200. So, like, 4
Way
bucks
more
a
reasonable
copy.
than
Oh, yeah.
vinyl
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I've made a couple grand off my music, which is, like, once again, like TikTok pennies to the dollar, because I got, like, songs that have, like I think I have probably, like, 3 or 400,000 streams overall throughout all my music, and it's, like,
That's pretty good.
pretty good for a Humboldt County artist.
That's pretty good
Pretty
for
good.
anybody.
Yeah, yeah. Better than it's better than probably like 98% of people that put music out do. But like I'm not in that like 1% yet. I'm kind of in that middle ground where like I'm trying to trying to break out to the next, to the upper class of music, and I'm not really there yet, but I hope I could get there soon.
Is the
Um
1% that the percent that really can do it full time and sees the income
Yeah.
coming in?
Oh, yeah. It's
That's like with
it's
anything.
under 1% if even of people that can make music and have that like unless you're very good with money management and very like have like a business plan. I don't have any fucking business plan with any of that, and I think I make it very clear like I'm going at this like all of this shit just like blind, like I'm just doing it like going in. Um but yeah, like sorry, what was the question?
Just
What was the
the aspect of you have to hit this height to actually be
right.
able to see some money
Oh,
coming
right,
from your
right, right,
music.
right, right, yeah, so, like, I hope I could get there someday, but like I said, yeah, it's a very small percent of people that do
It's a
it,
hard
yeah,
game.
it's a hard game. Same with content creation,
Just in general,
I
yeah.
was in that, like, upper percent of people when I first started with, like, the music or with the content and stuff that could actually, like, you know, do something big with it, and I obviously at my own, like, part of it is being banned and shit that I partially probably fumbled it a bit and didn't make the right like, I should have, like it's crazy. I talk to people that have, like, way smaller followings than me, than I did have, that, like, live in LA and, like, are, like, big time, I guess, and they're like, "Oh, do you have an agent? Do you have a manager?" I'm like, I have none of that shit. I'm doing this shit by myself." Like I'm in fucking Humboldt County. No one around here has a fucking manager, like that's like unheard of. So it's like it definitely like those are I don't know if I regret it because you definitely can go big time and transcend beyond TikTok without having a manager and without having an agent. But it's one thing that I guess that's the one of my only like regrets, I guess, is that I didn't like look into that before I have my whole platform like taken from me basically. So I don't know.
Well, the question is, what could they do for you? What is a manager? I mean,
That one of my friends, one of my good friends, that has a TikTok and has a manager. He got banned much like I did, and they're able to set him up with a Zoom meeting with someone like a representative from TikTok that was able to reinstate their account within minutes, you know? And it's like that is like the big thing is like
that would have been
that
handy.
would have
That would have been
been
nice to have.
very handy. It would have made this past month that I've been going through because it's been like then over yeah, like over a month now that I've been banned on TikTok, and it would have made it a lot smoother if I had that resource. That's really that, and just like other like connecting you with things that you might not be able to connect with, if you didn't have an agent or a manager, whether it's like as much as I said I hate doing brand deals, I could have probably got much more like luxurious brand deals if I had a manager or had an agent or something that could advocate for me and be like, go had the connections to be like, oh, I have this client or I have this person that you might be interested in and, opened opportunities for me. But that's just a what if. That's just a hypothetical at this point because it's like, not that I don't think I'll ever be able to get my account back because I'm still actively fighting, but if so, it's like in the past and I'm gonna keep doing the music and like hopefully do YouTube, and I'm gonna stream on Twitch and do all sorts of shit. Um, so yeah, like life goes on basically. I'm still actively fighting to like get my account back, but I'm also not putting
All
too
your
much
eggs in that
all my
basket.
eggs in that basket. Like it's the end of the world if I can't get it back. Because one thing that I realize that's really important, I think that like a lot of times because I think like I got ash on the
Oh,
table.
you're good.
Sorry.
You
Oh
can
sorry.
ash in that if you
Oh,
want to. That's what
perfect.
these little nice little bowls are for.
Ash this out. The one thing that I realized very quickly after I got banned was that 1.4 million followers that I had, yeah, they followed me. They took the time to follow my account and say, hey, like, I want to see more of this guy. But at the same time, they're following me in my most viral moments, and they're most likely following me because of those viral moments, not because, like, oh, like, I care about this person and, like, what they're doing, and I'm, like, a genuine supporter. You know, it's not just because I had that 1.4 million followers, that doesn't translate to actual, like, genuine support. It's just people that, like, decided to kind of stick around when I was in my most, like, viral moments, when I was, like, at my peak. And, what matters way more to me at this point is, like, the people that, like, take the time out of their day to, like, listen to my music and, like, actually support me and stay up to date on everything I do. Like, that genuine, like, real support, no matter you know, the number, it doesn't matter, the amount of people. It could be 2 people, it could be 2,000,000 people. That matters more to me than, like, the viral aspect of it at this point. And I'm trying to stay in that mindset. It's definitely hard because it is like a serotonin hit. It is like a, like dopamine hit when you get that viral video and it's getting millions of views and you're having like verified like famous people comment on your video like, "Oh my God, this is so funny." It could be a huge ego boost and a huge hit of dopamine, but I have to like keep myself grounded to a sense and be like, okay, is this really gonna matter in the long run, or is like the genuine like support for like the shit that I'm trying to do long term, like does that matter more? And like that's the easy question. It obviously matters a million times more to me than like any of that viral shit.
Real supporters are important.
Oh
Or not
yeah.
even supporters, just real people are that care about what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, like real people, like people that show up to my fucking shows that I do and shit. Like those people matter way more to me than like the couple people that comment, "Oh, haha, funny cripple" on a video online that did like a couple million views. Like that shit doesn't matter in the long run.
Are you reading the comments or back when they were blowing up, were you digging into the comments?
So most most creators will tell you, "Oh, I don't read comments. It's a waste of time." That's fucking bullshit. I would read comments. I would spend a lot of time reading comments, and I got some of my best fucking content from reading comments because TikTok has that feature where you could reply to a comment with a video. And that shit was a game changer for me because there were so many ridiculous out of pocket comments. And I was like, I could make a whole ass fucking video on this comment right now. And I had one video. This is another one of mine that did really well. And someone commented like, and I later learned that it was like a 12-year-old kid, and I kind of felt bad because I kind of like burnt the shit out of them, uh, burnt the shit out of them. But they commented like, "Oh, you're really like it really like sucks that like you're gonna die young because you're disabled without knowing anything."
Jesus! And this is coming from a 12-year-old
From a
kid.
12-year-old, from a fucking 12-year-old, and I'm like, at the time I didn't know this, I didn't take the time, like, someone had to tell me, like, "Yo, you realize that was, like, a kid that commented that," and I was like, "Oh, shit," like, I kind of feel bad, but I got a 10 million view video out of it, and I commented basically back being like, "Oh, they're assuming this out of me. Like they're assuming this without knowing anything about me, and this is really a sigh of relief because my doctors could never figure out what's wrong with me. I'm glad that
Jesus.
this person could." And then at the end, I realized before I made the video that they had a dead relative in their bio. So I took the very low blow of like, at least I know soon that I'll be able to like be up with AJ. I'll tell AJ hi
Oh,
for
you went
you. I
in.
went in, or I was like, what shoes is AJ wearing in the casket
I'll get him
or
some
something?
Nikes to
Yeah,
bring with
oh,
me.
yeah, exactly. I'll bring some with me. And that shit, it got on like fucking like out of pocket TikTok compilations and shit. I was like, that was one of my like most successful videos. And it came, I guess I'm no better than those people that moan. I am
Well, that's a
really at the end
little.
of the day,
It's a little
yeah,
different.
I'm at moan in people's ears. I'm not even the butt of my own joke at
You're out
that
here
point.
flaming 12-year
I
olds.
know. I became the very thing that I sought out to destroy. Wow. I'm just now realizing that right now for the first time ever, so that's crazy.
Well, there's an argument to be made that if you're out here, especially if you're out here on social media and you're commenting,
Yeah,
it's fair game.
I guess
It's
they
fair
did take
game.
the first punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whether they're 12 or 24 or whatever, they're still
Or
making the comment, or
44. If
40.
you come out here swinging,
Dude,
game
older,
over.
fucking older people. I've had, for one, so many very old people hit on me in the comments, and sometimes they're the ones that are the most blatantly like, like, oh, this is why I hate disabled people. And I'm like, whoa,
Jesus.
whoa there. That's not any different than saying you hate another group of people, saying that's just the same as saying you hate anyone. Like, that's fucking, you
That is
wouldn't,
so crazy
that
to
is,
just
yeah,
comment that on a
yeah,
video.
yeah. It's
That's
like,
why I hate disabled
this is
people.
why I hate disabled people. And I'm like I've gotten that comment word for word. And I'm like, because that'll be a joke about how, like, I love joking about how I collect disability payments and use it to, like, buy drugs and stuff, which neither of those things are true. I buy drugs with my own
Yeah.
hard-earned money.
I work at a thrift store.
I
I'm
work,
bringing in my own bread. It's
yeah, exactly. I'm making my own money to buy these drugs. No, but like, I'll make jokes about how, like, oh yeah, like, I use taxpayer money to fucking like, do this and this and that, and like I serve nothing to society, and then some like old fucking boomer with a fucking MAGA hat on in their fucking profile picture will be like, see, this is exactly why I hate disabled people, and it's like an ironic, and I'll like laugh at first because I'm like, I'm like, oh, this is totally someone posing. It's like a fucking like 60-year-old man, and I'll go on, and it's like, oh, this is actually a 60-year-old man. Like this is fucking like get a life, bro. But I just end up making content out of those people's comments too. So at the end of the day, I'm making money off it, and they're looking like a fucking clown.
that's a good way to do it,
Oh yeah,
I think. Looking at it and just brushing it off, which is the important part, because a lot of people read those comments and internalize them, and then it becomes debilitating for them.
I've never let that happen, but I've also just faced a lot of that like in real life as well. Like, like I reclaim words like cripple and retard, and like that's because I've been like called those words to my face. So it's like obviously like I'm gonna reclaim them, and like I learned a long time ago to like not take any of that to heart because like it's like the classic thing they tell you about bullies when you're like a fucking kid. Like they're saying that because they feel insecure about themselves, like that's ultimately like what it is. It's like these people either have a lot of hate in their hearts or like they're insecure about themselves for some reason. I heard that too. What was that?
Somebody, it might have been a mic. Normally, if you
Yeah.
get some interference from an electronic next to something, I don't know. And it might have been your phone just a little too close to your mic there. Yeah, did you? So you got a lot of that.
Oh yeah, like every day. Like I would wake up to new comments that were like not very nice. I'd wake up to a lot of very nice comments too, and I even made a video about that once. Like I don't shed enough light. Like I always am going for the negative comments to make content and get a reaction. And a lot of times those people are commenting too. That's the other thing, is people comment because they want that video to be made. So that's when it becomes like a,
It's
oh,
like a
why am
troll. It's a game.
it's like a cycle because I'm making the video to make them look dumb, but in reality, like they probably commented that because they're like, "Oh my god, this guy makes, like, viral videos off replying to, like, these hateful comments. I'm gonna make a hateful comment." So it's like a cycle, you know?
A shitty
Yeah,
cycle.
it's a shitty cycle, and that's another thing, like, I loved replying to comments and making videos like that, and at one point, like, I stopped liking it again or liking it anymore because I was like, "Why am I doing this?" Like, it's just a shitty cycle of, like, these people at this point are commenting this because they know I'll make a video on it, and it's like, it's just the question. I feel like like, I'm sure you've felt that way too, where, like, maybe not because I think you make this content just to, like, have genuine conversations with people, but I think anyone that creates anything asks, like, "Why am I doing this?" at one point or another, you know? And, like, that is one of the biggest takeaways from, like, making content on TikTok is, like, I found myself with that a lot more than anything else asking myself, like, "Why am I doing this?" 'Cause I've never really done that with my music, and when I have, it's just been stupid self-doubt shit. It hasn't been, like, a greater question of, "Oh, is this really what I wanna do?" It's just like, "Oh, I suck, like, why am I doing this?" And that's just me getting in my own head, you know?
I've had those moments where I get into my own head,
Right.
especially when you have with this, it's so variable. There's so many moving parts. Somebody could come on and maybe they had a bad
Dude.
day, maybe you
Yeah.
had a bad day,
Yeah.
and the interaction is just off or the conversation takes a turn.
Yeah.
I've never asked myself, why am I doing this? I have asked myself, why are people watching this?
Right.
Like, why would you watch a 24-year-old kid talk to random people who's
It's
trying to just figure out
people
his life?
people just fucking like
It's
whatever,
weird.
yeah.
It's weird in a way.
Have you had any, like, shitty guest ons? Like, or any, like, ones that you don't gotta name names, but have you had any where you're
I
like
I wouldn't say I have not had any shitty guests.
Uh-huh.
I have had uh, difficult conversations, but
Mhm.
usually I always look back on
Different point of view or something, or
yeah, or sometimes no, not even that. It's just it's always me. That's been my MO. I always frame it in that it's never the guest. It's always something that I
Right,
did or I could
right,
have done differently.
right,
I've had conversations that are difficult. I've had guests and I've had times when personally I've gotten riled up and
right.
it gets a little heated and becomes unproductive. That's happened. Not not an insane amount. Andy and I have Andy's been here for a few episodes now and he's witnessed that happen. And it's just you're talking about ideas and
Yeah,
people get emotional about ideas.
right.
I get emotional about ideas. You start getting attached to ways of
Yeah,
thinking and then when somebody pokes that you get defensive, and it's
yeah,
a very, very human reaction,
yeah.
and something that just happens. I am constantly trying to work on that,
Mhm.
and I slip into it,
Yeah.
and so you do have that, which yeah, I have enjoyed every conversation that I've had. Some
Mhm.
have been a little more painful for me, I
Right.
will say that.
Growing pains, that's literally in your
I
name,
think,
so
somebody was looking out for me when I came up with that name because I
yeah,
was not smart enough to come up with that.
yeah.
I don't know where it came from or why I got it.
You just woke up one day and were like, "Yeah, that's the name for the podcast."
It I had had a lot of growing pains in my
Mhm.
life, and my parents would always say, "Well, this is you're having some growing pains. This is gonna
Yeah,
be a difficult lesson for you."
yeah,
And for whatever reason, I it
yeah.
came to me,
That's
and that was the
that's
podcast.
beautiful, I like that. That's a good name, so
But I go back and forth on comments.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I think it would be nice, and I've tried reading them and responding to them because I wanna build that community with people, and I think some of the people that are watching are those ones that genuinely care,
Right.
and it'd be cool to have that back and forth dynamic of instead of them just watching this, they get to interact on
Yeah,
some level.
and there's more than just commenting like, replying to a comment on YouTube. You could, like, like, I have a Discord server and, like, you could do Discord. You could set up if they're, like, hardcore supporters, set up, like, a Patreon or something.
That's
Like,
exactly what Andy's been preaching to me.
dude, like, I'm preaching it. I need to listen to my own advice on the Patreon one because I've had people asking me if I'd start one for a long time, and I just need to do it because I have, like yeah, like I said, it's like it could be 2 people or 2,000,000, and for me, it's most likely gonna be, like, 2 or 3 people,
But it all adds
and
up, and
yeah,
just the act of that
yeah,
support is meaningful.
exactly, even if it's, like, they're throwing me $1 a month or something, it's like, damn, they, like, care enough to, like, pay that dollar. Oh, yeah, I'm on Cameo. I see you pulling up my I've done very few. See me with my fucking tongue out there, I didn't know that was the thumbnail on that one.
And so Cameo, people
Ah.
just pay you to
To say things, like, happy like, it's supposed to be for, like, if you have a birthday or something or,
like, a
like,
little
oh,
shout
like,
out.
a little shout out message, yeah, or, like, people troll and be like, "Oh, say this," and it's like, like, "Oh, say, like, that you like to fucking drink your own cum or something," and, like, they'll if you don't have if you have a lack in dignity, you might do it for a couple dollars, so I'd probably do it for, like, $5.
Depends yeah, it depends on the amount, right?
Yeah,
Where are we
like
what are we talking?
someone like I mean, I just said it now, I'll do it again and if someone wants to pay me
You
5
shouldn't say that,
bucks.
now you're gonna have a lot of
Yeah,
people
I
hitting
know.
you up on Cameo
Hit me
saying,
up on
"Louis, say
Cameo,
this."
I'd have, like I haven't done a Cameo in over a year, but
But the comments thing worries me because I know it's not on some level, it's not tangible, it's not real. You could get sucked into the world where you only read the good comments or you only read the negative ones,
and
and that
that's
becomes your worldview.
that's how I got with the negative ones, and it was like I finally like, someone called me out on it, and then I already kinda was, like, starting to feel it myself, but I was like, "Yeah, like, I'm getting all these nice comments, and I'm choosing to, like, respond to, like, the 1 or 2 negative ones I have." And I'm, like, totally neglecting, like, the community of people that, like, support me and shit, and it's what it was like I was questioning my motives, I was questioning why I do it and stuff, and I was like, "Damn, I'm really just doing it for the drama and for, yeah, like, I don't necessarily regret it, but, like, yeah, I was doing it because, like, oh, this is what's gonna get the views and get me the money and shit like that."
It's all about the views.
Exactly, it's all about
That's
the
what I worry
clicks.
about is
Yeah.
slipping into that world because I think it's so easy to do that.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, it comes almost naturally when you're putting stuff out there for people to perceive and react to. Like you almost gravitate towards the negativity of it.
Yeah, I don't know why people do that. I think saving grace is that I look at that and I just kind of feel bad for that person.
Yeah.
Like if you that's how you want to spend your minute or your 30 seconds is commenting some shit on a video you saw
Yeah.
online. What is going on in your life?
Yeah,
What are you dealing
that's
with
what
where
it
you took the time to say that?
yeah, that's what it comes down to, like back to what I was saying about like, the thing you learn when you're really young about, like, oh, if someone's, like, bullying you, it's probably they have stuff going on at home or they're insecure about themselves. It's like they got shit in their own life that's eating them up, so they're taking it out on you, and that's something it holds true with the internet too. It very much holds true with, like, comments on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever, you know?
Yeah, people are weird and they're
Yeah.
nuanced. And if your life isn't exactly going how you want, the inclination is to lash out when you see somebody
Yep.
doing something that they're passionate about.
Exactly, and that goes back to, like, I think that's the whole reason that I was fucking banned? Because it's like, I'm like, yeah, I wasn't at my peak, I wasn't at my highest point, but I was still, like, making content every day and, like, making my music and, like, pursuing something, and someone probably came along and was like, "I don't fucking like this cripple doing this," like, I feel so shitty about myself, like, I'm just gonna fuck their day up, and reported all my videos and got me fucking taken down and, like, then a real fucking struggle getting it back.
Well, you're a unique case because if you can make it and they're not happy with what they're doing, the inclination is to say, "Oh, well, now I need to tear that down."
Yeah,
Because if he's up there with all the limitations placed on him, what is my excuse?
exactly.
Why I should be
Yeah.
farther along, but they don't want to look at it like
They
that,
don't wanna
and so
look
they
at yeah,
attack.
and ultimately, that comes down to, like, people look at disabled people as, like, a lower status of person just because they have a physical limitation or a mental limitation that they can't to succeed big things, And that very much holds true in a lot of the and I won't talk my shit too long or talk my shit too hard, but, like, it
Oh, talk
holds
your shit,
true
Louis, we're
in
here
a
for
lot
it.
of the fucking fields that I'm in, is I think people, like, they know what I'm like, they know what I'm capable of, and they know, like, what I do, and they know that, like, it's good, you know? Like, I try not to have too big a ego, but, like, when you get to the level that I got to, that I was at and that I'm still, like, kinda at, like, you have a bit of an ego about yourself and you carry yourself differently, and I think a lot of people like to see me as, like, because I got that disability and shit, that I'm, like, less than them, you know, and that's held true for years before I even had this following, like, people that I'd make music with and shit would see me as, like, "Oh, well, like, I should be the star, and, like, this person's, like, the cripple little sidekick," like, the you know, and it's like when TV shows they throw in like a disabled side character that's only purpose is to be the disabled side character and like the comedic like relief at times or some shit like that. It's like that's what people expect of me, but it's like no, like I'm trying to be like the fucking head honcho of this shit, you know, with the music that I'm doing. Like, you know, I'm trying to build my own thing up and like do my own big things. I'm not trying to be like a little like side character in your big you know, your story and your fucking arc that you're having with what you're doing. And like I'm not gonna get too personal about it, but I've had a lot of relationships in the music, in the, you know, video creation and shit like that, that it very much feels that way. It's like, oh, you want me to be your little like side character. You don't want me to like have my own success, you know?
It's almost like they want you to fit into that box
Hmm.
and make yourself small and almost feel sorry for yourself
Yeah,
so that it's not you going out and achieving these things that they wish that they could. But if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, you know, my life sucks. Look at
hmm,
where I am. Look at what's happened to me. This it sucks." Then they'd feel better about it.
yeah, yeah.
But where you're going out and you're not letting anything hold you back and
Oh
you're
no.
making these TikToks and you're making your music and you're chasing your dream regardless of what's happened. Again, it ties back into they look at their own life and
Yeah,
say, "Well, shit, now if you don't have an excuse, what is there for what excuse is there for someone who doesn't have anything doesn't have anything? They've got a cush
exactly.
job, they're, eating 3 meals a day." That's how I feel. You go to a third world country and you look around. It's like, what excuse do you have?
Yeah,
If you're born in this country, what excuse do you really have?
yeah.
You've got a phone in your pocket? Okay, and you're complaining because the world's not fair, but you have a phone and
And
you
you
could
could do
do
whatever with
whatever
it.
you want
It's
with that.
like I didn't have like a team to back me. I didn't have a manager, an agent, or like, you know, fucking all these resources. I had this phone,
And you did
you
it by
know,
yourself
and I
and
did
with
it by
some
myself and I
friends, but
created with some friends that like at the start it was literally like me and like I'd go and bug my brother and be like, yo, like can you like help me like come out in the front yard? I want to record this video and you have to push me out of a wheelchair. And it's like that's like the fucking video, that's the joke is you pushed me out of the wheelchair and it's like that's the type of shit I was on and like that's how I started and it was like it didn't take a lot of effort, you know. Especially like if we go back to like when I was talking about like the timeline in that period where like I had a small following and I was just doing it for fun. It wasn't a job or anything, or I wasn't seeing any big payoff from it. It was just like I had a small following a lot of it, like, I think it would only really take at the most, like, an hour out of my day, and it was, like, a fun video, and it would get views, you know, and it was just something fun, and it, like, didn't take a lot of time out of my day and shit, and it's, like, it's that easy to get started, you know, and even when I was doing it full time and, like, doing it every day, it was like I was setting my own hours. I could start at, like, fucking 9 o'clock at night if I wanted to, or I could get up at 5 in the morning and do it. You know, like, I set my own hours, I could do it as long as I want, and then I see, like, the payoff from it, and it's like, there's you know, it's it's not a really time-consuming thing at that level. Obviously, like, bigger production things like YouTube videos and, like, making, like, longer form content, like, that's more of a process. So, like, you know, it doesn't take a lot of time out of your day to just make a video and it could go viral. And I think that's how TikTok gets so addicting as well, because people do that once or twice and then they fall into it of like, "Oh, I have to do this all the time." And then that's when you're thinking like you have to do it all the time, that's when it like takes a lot out of you and starts like eating at your brain. Also, like when I knew like it was getting to be a lot when I'd be like with my girlfriend or like with my friends and like trying to have a fun time and I'd be thinking like, "Oh man, I should be like making a video right now." And it's like you still gotta have time for like real life shit, you know? You still gotta have time for like human connection and shit like that. And I was like, damn, I'm really valuing these like videos I make on a platform that pays me pennies to their dollar over like spending genuine time with my girlfriend or with a friend or with my family, you know? And I was like, I guess that was another part of it where I started to like question it and be like, am I really enjoying this? Like, is this, you know, when I started like valuing making those videos over anything, but also like, that's also just how a lot of like artists and creators are is like their work almost consumes them. So it's you gotta find a balance. It's like yin and yang, you know. There's I don't know. It's a lot to process.
I struggle with that.
Yeah.
That aspect, especially with not with the views or the comments, but with this, I
Mhm.
constantly am sacrificing time with friends or with
Yeah.
family to do these. And
Mhm.
I look at that and that's a worthwhile sacrifice for me because I justify it saying, I'm trying to build out this
Right.
thing. I love being in the studio. I enjoy these
Right.
conversations. I get fulfilled from it. But your relationships take a hit. And I was
Oh
always one
yeah.
of those people that thought, oh, if you don't see your friends except for once or twice a year, that's okay. Like they're
Yeah.
still your friends. They
Yeah.
get it. But more so recently, I've started to realize that relationships are like living almost like plants. And you wouldn't expect
Get
a
to
plant
water
to
them.
thrive if
Yeah.
you didn't water them, if you didn't give them sunlight, if you didn't take care of them. You have
Yeah.
these friendships that are dying on the vine and
Yeah.
you're washing it off saying, "No, they're fine."
Yeah.
But you don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't talk to them because you're too busy with your craft.
And that's the struggle because it's like it's a back and forth thing of like, okay, but this is what I want to do with my life, and it should consume like any like you hear about like
You have to give it your all. It
you
has to
have
take
to
up
give it your
100%
all
of your
like,
time.
and this is another thing like a lot of people in the field that I'm in, like a lot of my peers are telling me is like, yeah, it like consumes you, and you kind of like that's how you know you're doing good, and you're like, you know, when you don't feel like there's enough time in the day, when you're constantly thinking about work, you're constantly working, that's how you know that you're doing good and you're, like, succeeding, you know? Even if you're not seeing, like, an abundance of success in real time, like, you're working, you're fucking it's like the grind and shit. And, but, like, shit, I was talking faster than I was thinking, and I lost
It
my
was
train
coming
of
out. You were
thought. I
passionate
was like
about
I
it.
was very passionate about it, and then I lost it.
Well, there's a weird it's almost fetishized
Yeah.
the idea that you have to give it 110%. Every waking hour you need to spend honing your craft.
It's like those, like, over dramatic, like, alpha male things or, like, if you're not constantly working, if your inner circle isn't constantly talking about this,
I
and
love
this,
that shit.
you're
I
not
ate that
I
shit
love
up.
it's so, like it's like that shit, like, it's literally like I don't know, it's like your life doesn't have to be all of this, but also, like, to an extent, it is true at the same time, like, you
That's
should
the
be,
thing.
like it's a yin and yang thing because it's like a back and forth thing, and it's something that I've really struggled with music and with creating content is like, okay, part of me is telling me, yes, Louis, like it's totally valid. It's totally okay that like you're sitting here with your girlfriend, like watching a movie, and you're thinking about like, oh, I should be like, I have an idea for a song right now, or I have an idea for a video. And then part of me is like, no, Louis, like this is like a human relationship and you care about this person and like you should be like watering the plant, like tending to the relationship. And it's like a really back and forth thing where I'm trying to figure out like what is the best, like what is the right thing. And I guess that just comes down to the type of person you are because some people are probably completely fine and completely okay with letting their work consume them and like not really having those relationships, not really watering those relationships. And some people are probably more okay with like, oh, this is like secondary to me. I want to tend to my relationship. So it's really about, I guess, at the end of the day, the type of person you are and the type of person you want to be.
Yeah, what I always go back to is can you be s- can you be at the top of your craft if you don't give it everything you have?
Yeah.
And the alternative is what happens if you get there and you look around and nobody's at the top of the mountain
And
with you?
and that's what I think about because I think about these people like my girlfriend and my friends, and I'm like, damn, when I'm like at the top and I'm reaping the benefits of like, and I say when and not if because it's like I want to have that positive manifestation of like it will happen. And I never think of things of like, oh, like if I blow up, it's like no, when I blow up, and that's not me trying to be cocky or like get too ahead of myself. It's like I don't want to ever think about a possibility where I'm not doing this shit. Um and so when I think about that, I'm like it's very, one-minded, it's very, like, just thinking about myself because I think, like, "Oh, like, is this what, like, everyone out like, if I'm not, like, watering these relationships and shit, like, are they gonna wanna be along for that?" If I'm, like, constantly chasing this and not tending to the people in my life, are they gonna wanna be there at the top with me? Is that what they even want? So it's like it's a real back and forth thing, like, all of it, and it's like yeah, like, that's the thing I fear the most, I think, is going full in with everything and then not having anyone to, like, be there with me when, like, I'm reaping the benefits of it.
And nobody knows the answer. That's the
No
scary
one
part.
knows the answer
I don't
ever.
know if there's anybody that's incredibly successful, whatever that looks like, that talks about balance. That's what I always hear from David Goggins, especially, is he'll say, the only people that talk about balance are people at the bottom.
Yeah,
If you want to be the baddest motherfucker out there, you have to give it everything you have.
and I guess that's something that leans me towards the just, like, going all in,
There's something
and, like
seductive about that, of
yeah,
just giving yourself over to
yeah,
your craft.
yeah, and, like, I've done it to a sense, like, I've there has there has been times, periods, whether it's a day, weeks, whatever, where I'm just like I had a period recently where like I was out in LA networking and I was like and this is after I got banned on TikTok. Like I planned this big trip out to LA to network and like meet a bunch of people and do all this shit. And then I get banned on TikTok and I still went for it. It definitely like I definitely got the LA experience of like some big people that I hit up to be like, yo, we should like hang out, kick it, do whatever when I got banned on TikTok and I told them that, or I was like, "Yeah, like, I got my shit banned and, like but I'm still trying to do this and, like, make content for Instagram or do whatever." They just, like, weren't interested anymore and shit, so I got the full LA experience of, like, fake ass people be it's
People
just, like,
using you for your
people
what you have
using
to
me for,
offer.
like, the 1.4 million. They don't care about the, like, 14K I got on Instagram or, like, whatever else. They want that they like that big number, and when I didn't have that to my name anymore, they didn't care about me as a person, It's like and I get that that's the business at the same time, though, like, people like, that people, like, ultimately I gotta use it to my advantage, and I gotta, like, I had to, like and I think that's something that I really struggled with was not using that, "Oh, like, I'm a big creator, I got 1,000,000 followers." Almost like having like, I think I was too self-aware like, self-conscious of, like, "Oh, I don't wanna come off as a dick and have too big of an ego," and I think it was almost to a fault to where it's, like, sometimes I didn't seize an opportunity because I wasn't too, like, assertive with, like, "No, this is who I am," like, "I'm the shit," like, "I'm trying to go for this?" So it's really been, like, this is all, like, this is my growing like, it's kind of full circle that I'm, like, on this podcast because it's, like, it's a growing pain I've been going through of, like, okay, like, there's some things, like, now that I don't have this platform that, like, I didn't, like, seize and, like, I didn't, like, go all in with, but also, like, I'm trying to, like, keep my head up and keep going and not let that shit get the best of me because ultimately, it's fucking TikTok. It's a short form video platform like Vine was, and look where Vine is now. And look how many, like, Vine stars, like, ended up, like, doing Vine and leaning into it way too much and then being nothing, you know, and maybe I should have took more of an advantage of the YouTube shit earlier on, and that's another growing pain of mine because I'm like, "Oh, I should have been making YouTube videos, like, a year ago. I'd maybe at least have, like, more subscribers and more of an audience to reach out to now that I'm banned." But it's like, ultimately, I live and I learn, and I'm gonna keep my head up even, like, there's definitely shit that I did wrong when I did have that platform on TikTok, and I learned from it, and I'm like, it molded me into who I am now, and it's gonna continue to, you know?
That's that's the way you have to look at it to
Yeah.
grow. The ego check is an interesting concept.
I'm yet to have a full-on ego death where it's just like I lose all sense of, like, who I am and shit, and I also haven't dabbled in, like, psychedelics or anything like that that could trigger something like that, but I definitely have gotten close to having an ego death where I just completely just lose my sense of self and sense of, like, who I am or anything like that,
How did you come to that?
like, oh, just like a lot of it is, like, trying to put things through look at it through different lens, like, okay, like, in terms of, like, my relationships and stuff, like, how am I treating this? I'm like, how much is, like, the shit that I'm doing worth it in the terms of, like, this relationship, like, um, and just, thinking, I guess thinking, like, in the long run, like, me putting this much effort into this one platform with, like, TikTok and stuff, how much is this gonna matter, like, 10 years down the road? Like, do I really wanna, like, full lean on into being this, like, content creator, like, influencer person? In, in 10 years, am I gonna regret that, And just, thinking, I don't even know, thinking, about who I wanna be and who I currently was, I guess it just, caused me to, really put things in a different perspective.
I have some worry with that in the sense that these moments that I have on this podcast are going to outlive me.
Right.
And more so than that, what if my kids see this
Yeah.
someday and they see me at these different stages in
Yeah.
my life and they are interpreting me after I'm gone or while I'm still there, but at these points.
Yeah.
And people people like to hold you in place in time now.
Yeah.
And so imagine having a documentation like you do with TikTok
Oh,
where
man, dude.
you are frozen in time at
Yeah.
these places where you think these ideas, you make these comments, you say these things, and in the moment it's one thing, but look at where we are now, and if you jump back 20 years, what people said is
Yeah.
not up to date with how people feel now.
Exactly, and that's ultimately what I think that is the biggest cause of any sort of ego death or any sort of blow to my ego, is just thinking about time in general, and, just, like, 10 years down the road, I'm putting all this effort into this fucking video where I'm calling myself a retard or making some sort of self-deprecating joke, where's this gonna pay off 10 years from now? And thinking of the longevity of things, I'm like, what if yeah, that's something I haven't put much thought into, and maybe I should put more thought into, is, how will it age, on its own? Because it will have a different life than, the life that I continue to live after I make it, because it will continue to exist in this one, space and stuff, and, in 10 years, what if it's perceived totally differently, And it's like, I guess I hadn't, thought too much about that, am I gonna regret I guess, am I gonna regret, saying this or that, 10 years down the road? And I guess that at the end of the day, we've seen so many celebrities, so many people have old tweets or old things they said dug up. I guess at this point, if you're just, putting stuff out there, it's like a risk you have to take that, oh, something I might say 10 years down the road will, be interpreted totally differently, or 20 years or however
It's not
many.
even a risk, it's
Yeah,
almost a guarantee
it's
at
a
some
guarantee
point.
that something
Given enough
it
time.
could be the tiniest little tidbit, and it could be that could be totally warped and, seen way different than it is now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not necessarily worried about it, there's almost a weird acceptance around the day is gonna come
Yeah,
in some regard.
yeah,
I and in some ways, I think it's cool
yeah,
because my kids will have a way of really getting to know me in a way I don't
yeah,
think a lot of people get, and even just the listeners of this show will get to know me in a way that even maybe my closest friends wouldn't know me. Because if
right.
you're, I mean, if this goes on for the next 30 years, think of how many thousands of hours, and even with content creation like you do, if you do Twitch, if anybody does any of those platforms and you're just putting out hours of content, people are going
Yeah,
to have an idea about you and get to know you in a way that most people throughout time haven't been able to.
yeah, and I mean with music too, like
That's
music
another
too,
expression.
like I see music ultimately as like a therapy at this point. Like I would never like get like if you listen to that at any point, like it is a lot
I'm
of the
definitely going to
themes.
listen to this.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
excited. I'm going to have to dig out a CD player.
yeah, you don't got one in your car or anything, or
You know, I do. My truck's an '01.
you definitely have a
I'm
CD
going to
player in
listen
there.
to it on the way home,
Oh yeah.
man.
Yeah, right on. There's a lot of like depressing themes in it, and it's like I would never like go to my friend and like or go to maybe I'd go to my girlfriend or something, but a lot I wouldn't go to the majority of the people in my life and like say any of the shit that I'm like saying in this music, you know. It's like very much like the only medium that anyone will ever get to hear me like talk like that in. You know, like I won't even like some of the shit I say in there I won't even say in like a video. It's like, it's very personal and very real and honest. And I guess that is the only thing that I will like specifically and outright say about my music is that it is honest. Like I do like to play with themes of like nonfiction sometimes in my music, but ultimately my music is like what a lot of other people have also told me too is my music is very like grounded in reality and like brutally honest, almost to like a T, you know? It's like almost like, whoa, this is like too fucking honest right now. And I try to stay true to that, like in all the music that I create. And yeah, I'll play with like themes of like nonfiction and like speaking metaphors and like shit like that when I'm creating a song. But ultimately, there's a point, like part of it is coming from like a real, like part of me as a person, you know. Um, and that's what I like about music more than anything is I feel like it's the only medium. Like, when I'm doing TikTok, when I'm doing videos, like right now, like talking, like it's just like I'm a normal dude. But like when it comes to creating like a piece of like fucking content that people are gonna perceive, like other than TikTok or other than the music that I make, like it's a persona to a like degree, even if it's not like even if it's not like a full on character, like there's some like elements of like this isn't who I really am into like the videos that I make.
What do you
And
think that stems from? Is that just
I
a
think it's
desire to fit in at some point?
y- oh definitely I definitely struggled with like fitting like as a kid being like the only disabled kid like that wasn't in, like, special ed classes and shit, like, being the only disabled kid, like, in my class most of the time in my grade, like, definitely struggle with, like, fitting in and, like, wanting to fit in as a kid, and, like, definitely struggle with, like, a fear of missing out because of the condition I was, like, "Oh, people don't wanna bring me along, people don't wanna bring the cripple along." And I almost started to lean into that with my content, like, "Oh, no one likes the fucking cripple," like, the cripple it's not cool to be a cripple, and shit like that. And it definitely, like, yeah, it's self-deprecating, and it is at the end of the day a joke, but it definitely stems from a real part of me and, like, some sort of, like it's like a not like a trigger, but like or a trauma response, but there is some real element there when I'm like making those jokes and like doing that shit.
It's humorous, but it's coming from a real place,
Hmm.
a a deep place.
Exactly, and like I think that so yeah, like I guess that's a like it's a totally different side of me that isn't like in my music because like I'll add comedic effects to my music every once in a while. I'll add like something funny that'll get like whoever's listening to be like, oh, that was fucking out of pocket or that was whatever. But for the most part, it's like, oh no, this is how I'm really feeling right now, and I want it to make you uncomfortable, and I want it to I want it to either it makes you uncomfortable or like the other response I've gotten is like, damn, like I've never had anyone be able to like put that into words like how I'm feeling. And like you did that with that song, and like I like that was like too real. and So, like, I don't know. I guess it's just, like, different forms of, like, media or different forms of, like, creating. I show different sides of me, and I'm probably showing a different side of me right now in this podcast, like, doing this. It's like any form of media or any form of creation that I do, like, it's gonna show a different angle because we're not, like, one-dimensional or we're not, like, two-dimensional beings. There's lots of sides to us, lots of aspects to us that different things like bring out, I guess. And that's the thing that I appreciate about creating on like all these different like platforms and mediums that like it all shows a different side of you.
Was that intentional with your music to expose that side of yourself, or did that just come
It
out?
it came out because a lot of it was more like the side that I talk about that still is like nonfiction. Like it was like me like my first song one of my first songs I wrote, it was like talking about peanut butter and like fucking Kim Kardashian eats a bunch of fucking peanut butter and that's why her ass is so fat and shit like that and like talking about
Jesus.
like yeah, that was the first song I ever wrote was
That's
called
why her
Peanut
ass is
Butter.
so fat.
Yeah. Or something like Kim Kardashian eats too much peanut butter. It goes straight to her thighs. She doesn't realize that she's hypnotized by the peanut butter. And I somehow still remember that, and I'm not. I don't know if I should be proud that I still remember that I still remember it. So, um, but yeah, a lot of my sorry, I got really off topic there. But a lot of my early music was really like not grounded in reality and who I actually am. It was like talking about like chicks and like fucking cars and like all the shit that was in the rap music that I was like listening to. Like
Fitting
it
into
was
that
very much
persona.
like it was like yeah, I was like watching like all these like rap videos on like YouTube, like Vivo videos or whatever, and like watching them and being like, oh my god, I'm gonna rap like this, and I all my songs early on were like that, and then one day like I was just rapping and like I think what really started, like, me rapping about, like, actual, like, real shit was you could still it's the first video on my Instagram or, like, the earliest wasn't the first thing I ever posted, but it's the earliest thing on my Instagram that's, like, still up, and it was, like, this, like, 10 toes down challenge, which was, like, a freestyle challenge back in, like, 2016 or something, and you rap about, like, pain and struggle and shit like that over this beat and I rapped about, like, being disabled and, like, being, like, growing up, like, disabled and shit, and, like, the, like, hardships that I had to face, and it was very much, like it was very on the nose, like, "Oh my god, I am in pain, I'm tortured," like, a lot of my shit now, like, it still comes from that place of pain and torture, but it's more, like, metaphorical and shit and more, like, up for interpretation, like, you could look at it at face value, or you could like interpret it however you want. It could be metaphorical, but this was very like on the nose. Like I went through this and this and this, and like I had it this rough, and I guess that's what triggered like the like oh maybe I should make some music like about some real shit and not about like the shit that isn't even about the life that I'm living. But like I was a kid, so obviously like I wouldn't make shit like that now. That's like about some shit that I'm not even about. But like Back then it was like I'm a kid, I'm impressionable, I wanna rap about the shit that I see on TV or on the internet that I think is cool. But that challenge was really what triggered like oh, I should rap about some real shit. And from then on out, I mainly just made shit unless it was coming from a satirical like sorry. From a satirical lens, like, I was rapping about some shit that, like, I was actually feeling, or I was making a song about some shit that, like, I actually felt. Um, And so really that's what triggered that was, like, that challenge and, like, was doing that. It was like, "Oh, wow, like, I have this and, like, I can use it at my own will, and it's at my disposal," and, like, it was, like, untapped at that point, you know?
Pain is a weird thing
It is.
because pressure makes diamonds, but pressure also makes people kill themselves.
Yeah.
And
That's
there's
a good
no
quote. I shouldn't have
there's
laughed at that, but that's a good pressure makes
and
diamonds, but pressure also makes people kill themselves.
and
That's
there's no delineating factor. What makes somebody great
yeah,
in that in through the struggles that they had to endure might break somebody else. And
yeah.
how do you know? How do you know what is too much for somebody to go through? My sister had this quote one time. She told me, and I don't remember if somebody I knew had recently killed themselves or if something had happened, and she kind of put a religious spin on it. She said, "I believe that God gives people what he thinks they can handle, and sometimes it's too much."
It's fair.
But that it's a weird thing because some people are great because of what they had to endure.
Right.
It makes them a better person, or it makes, not justifying it, not saying anybody wishes that for their
Right.
kids, but some people that didn't go through any struggle are assholes and nobody wants to be around them.
Most of it, like, not everyone, I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, but most of the people that I've encountered in my life that have been the biggest assholes have been the ones that have had everything fucking handed to them and have never had to deal with, like, even, like and I that's something that I struggle with because I hate to come from that standpoint of, like, you don't fucking know what I've been through, you know? Like, you don't fucking know, like, the pain and, like, the struggle that I've been through, but also, like, in a sense, like,
You don't
it's
fucking
true.
know.
You don't fucking know. And that's like you're being a, like, fucking asshole right now because you don't fucking know because your life has basically been handed to you, you know? And, like, yeah, that's and, like and then there's other people, like, yeah, like, that struggle turns some people great, but then other people, it's just it weighs too much on them and it breaks them. So it's really, like, how much I like that. It's like, how much is too much, you know? Like, when like, what is too much for someone to handle? And I guess that all comes down to the type of person at the end of the day too.
And it's an unfair system because you don't get a pick. Nobody gets to decide how much hardship you're going to have in life
Yeah,
or what that scale is going to look like for you. You just keep moving forward,
yeah,
and it piles up and you work through it, or it piles up and it breaks.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, and I guess that's why, like, it hasn't broke for me yet, and I feel like at some point there's a choice that you have to make there too, and that's not to, like, give people like, that's not to, like, say that people where it did break or it was too much, like, it's their fault in any means, by any means, but, like, I feel like at some point, like, there's definitely been times where I could have made a choice to let everything get to me and let it break me, or I could, like, turn it into something great, and, like, that's been a choice that I've made for the most part, and even, like, now with, like, all the shit that I go through now, I'm like, "Okay, I could, like, let this get to me, and maybe it won't break in the sense of, like, I kill myself or I do something like that, but, like, I make a stupid decision or I let something get the best of me." Or I could, like, keep my head held high and fucking, like, try to make the best of it and try to make something good out of it. And I guess that's just a choice you gotta make, and
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that extreme. Not
it does
everybody that
yeah,
has a hard time kills themselves.
yeah.
Some people just go dark
Go
and they
dark,
just,
yeah,
instead of looking at the world for the potential that it has and what it could be,
yeah. Something
everything
flips
is,
at some
it's
point.
all black.
Yeah.
They start seeing the world through this weird lens where everyone is a piece of shit, people suck, there's no point in any of that, and they just go inward.
And I'll say I'm definitely guilty of having moments where I've thought like that. And, like,
I think everybody
I think
has.
everyone's had a moment where they thought like that, like, everything fucking sucks, like, life sucks, like, what's the point, like, this shit sucks, but, like I don't know. I like I don't like not having faith in people and not having faith that there's still like good out there in the world, you know? Um and I think just trying to like keep that in mind when you're going through shit like hey, there are like there's good shit in this world. Like it's like yeah, this what I'm going through right now is shitty and it might be shitty for a while. It might fuck some things up in my life, but there's still like good out there and there's still like good shit out there for me. And I guess that's just like I guess that's just something you have to remember and like granted and it's like that's not the case in every situation because like people that do resort to like bad shit like I'm sure like there's factors that play a part where it's like yeah that's like the last road that's the last open road available to them. It's just like I guess you're just always on a path, and it's all about like the turns that you take and shit.
It's every choice
Yeah,
built
every
up over a
choice,
lifetime.
and that's the thing. It's like that's the thing I think about a lot of times. Is like, damn, if I would have never chose to like make videos or like do this or that, where would I be right now? Because I credit me like, making content and, like, doing the shit I do, a big part into why I stopped going to school and, like, I dropped out of college and shit. It's like, if I wouldn't have never done that, I would have probably, like, still been pursuing a degree, and I'd be in a very different spot right now in life. Whether that's good or bad, that's the way I see it, is like, I made a choice there to do one thing over another, and whether I like it or not, that choice, like, put me on a different road in life, and it's like, I don't know, it's just something to think about. I've been pondering that a lot more recently as I think of, like, my friends that are, like, in school or are doing other things in life, like, damn, they really, like, they made a choice to do this, and they're on a path, and they're gonna see it play out in a way different way than I'll see it play out, and it's always about the choices that we make and shit. I don't know.
I I 1000% would be a shittier person if I did not do this podcast.
Yeah.
I feel pretty comfortable saying
And,
that.
like, I feel like I definitely would be a different person if I didn't make content, and I don't regret anything. Like, I don't regret anything from the decision I made, um, one bit. I just think of, like, all the different ways that my life could have played out. Because I coulda, like my life could have played out, I didn't make content, and then I lost passion for everything else, and I just became, like, a mindless drone, like, working and doing whatever, and lost all enjoyment and wanted to, like, fucking shoot myself every day or
That's what
something,
scares me. How many people are in that spot where
where it's
they
just
hate
like
what
you
they
were just like a
do?
cog in the machine, and like I could have totally gone that route if I didn't pick up a phone and start making videos or pick up a mic and start making music. It's like that's the other thing. Like, damn, what if I decided to never like start writing music, or what if I decided to never like look into like studios to go to like start recording music? Like, where would my life be right now? You know?
Yeah, it's crazy how even in small moments, the decisions you make have those ripple effects.
Yeah,
And you look back and think, what if I zigged when I should have zagged? Or what if I did
exactly.
this and didn't go this way?
Yeah,
I think it's good to look back because it grants perspective in some regards. You just can't get hung up on the past. I've been there
yeah.
when all you're doing is thinking, "Oh, I should have done this or I should have gone this
Totally, and that's
way."
why, that's why I said, like, I definitely there are, like, regrets here and there with, like, the route that I've taken, like, oh, I wish I looked into, like, doing this or that, like, or I wish I would've, like, reached out to this person to, like, do this, like, maybe it would've opened a door. But, like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I never know. You never fucking know, so you can't get too hung up on it because you didn't do it, or even like, oh, I did do this and I wish I didn't. But like, what if you didn't and then you did something else that was like fucked up and bad, or like you fucked up some other way? It's like I don't know. Like making decisions and like the roads that leads you down is a very like I feel like that itself is a very windy road. It's a very windy conversation that could lead you to a lot of different conclusions. But it's just like, I don't know, chance and like, I don't know, like probability of things, like it's like a whole thing that like, If you can't think too much on it because you'll just get your head tied up in knots.
All part of life.
Exactly. It's
All
got to
part of
go through
life.
the motions at some point.
Yeah. It's just a part of life. You make decisions and you course correct or you keep going,
Yeah.
and that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Is you just can't get bogged down. You can't regret is a silent killer, man.
It is.
You just have to keep as long as you're moving forward and making decisions, I think you're on the right track.
Oh,
Doesn't mean you're
definitely.
gonna be where you want to be right now,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be closer than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't think too much on the what ifs and whatnot. It's just like you got to go for it. Go all in.
Gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Too much thinking is important, but overthinking is a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Louis, man, that was a blast.
That was
Thanks,
awesome.
really, thanks for
That was
coming on. That was
that
a
was
hell of a lot of
that was a
fun.
great conclusion to the
Yeah, I feel like
story. I
that was
feel
a
like we
great
talked
wrap.
about a lot of like I don't know, just a lot of shit that's been on my mind that I've been pondering a lot, and I really appreciated that. I really appreciate you having me on here and shit. This was great.
Yeah, man, it was
Yeah.
a great time. We'll definitely have to get you back
Oh,
on.
totally. Yeah.
Do you want to plug where people can find you, your music, your other TikToks, your other socials?
So okay. So for TikTok, since I talk so much about TikTok, it's not Louis 2 and not Louis, Notlewy 2 and not Louis, same spelling. Um and then as far as everywhere else, SoundCloud, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, everything is just not Louis, Notlewy. I got an album, Orca, by Not Louis, and that's out now. And I got plenty of other music. I've been dropping shit consistently since like 2018 on every major platform. So I got plenty of shit, plenty of music. And I'm on YouTube too. I got Not Louis on YouTube, Notlewy once again. And so that's like a like it's like a trigger at this point, like Notlewy. It's so like I've
Rolls off the
I've had to
tongue.
spell it for people so many times that it just rolls right off the tongue. But yeah, that's where you can find me just about everywhere.
And if people want to buy a CD, how do they do that?
Notlewy.com.
Not Louis. Damn, they even got a
Notlewy.com.
website. You're
That's the thing.
professional,
That's
man.
the okay. I didn't tell that story about how I came up with the name of
Oh,
Not
end it
Louis.
on that. Well,
Yeah,
that's a
we'll
great
end on
ending.
that. So basically, like, Not Louis. So I went by Louis pre all of that shit, like 2018 and before. I was just like Louis. Um, and I released music and my app on Instagram was like not Louis and it was just like a basic thing like when people say like have their at on Instagram like it's Nick Flores or like not Nick Flores, I don't know if I butchered your last name there or not, but
No, you're good. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah, and it's like it was just like, oh, I'm not Louis, but everywhere else, like Spotify and shit, I was Louis, and I was releasing music. And one day, I had this motherfucker hit me up, and who's this some person? I had 1,000 followers at the time. This dude had like 5K or something, and he was like, "Yo, fool! Like, you then releasing music under Louis, and like I also released music under the name Louis, and like I'm an OG. I've been at this shit for 20 plus years. I'm on a record label, and blah blah blah. Like you gotta have some respect for the OGs. Like blah blah blah. Like you're releasing music under my name, and like like I can't force you to keep doing it or whatever. But like you're never gonna succeed if like you keep your name as Louis. Like you're just following like in my shadow. And then he said like I'm not gonna force you or whatever it is. Like I'm on a label and like our lawyers will be like in touch with you if you keep doing this because like I guess like one of my songs like fucking popped up on his fucking like his like Apple Music or something, and he got all riled up about it. And like I was annoyed too because I'm like, damn, I don't want my fucking song popping up on this dude's fucking like
You guys are
Apple
fighting over
Music,
the name Louis.
literally. And so he's like, yeah, like he basically threatened a fucking lawsuit over me having the same name. Sorry, fucking bloated as shit right now. Um, but he basically fucking almost like he threatened a lawsuit over having the same name as him. It's a name. It's
Imagine
like
thinking you own the name
it's a
Louis.
fucking name. And he fucking was pressing me about that. And so kinda as a troll, I changed it to it was already my Instagram handle, so it was just convenient. I was like, "Oh, not Louis," because it's like, "Oh, I'm not Louis," I'm not this guy, I'm me. But also, like, it was my Instagram handle, and later on, it became more of a metaphorical thing. It's like, oh, I talk about not having, like, a sense of self and, like, an idea of who I truly am, even though, like, in reality, like, talking to me, it's obviously, like, I fucking know who I am and I know who I wanna be. Um, but it's like, oh, I don't have the sense of who I am, and so it became like I'm like not Louis because I don't feel like myself, and so like that became like the artistic, like metaphorical reason that I gave, but really is just like some fucking dude on the internet that was like pressing me about some dumb shit.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I
Fuck
think that's
Louis.
that's I think that's great, man, not
Yeah,
Louis.
not Louis. Yeah, so that's how I got the name, and that's a story I will never get over telling because it's just it's rich. It's just so funny how someone could have such an ego over having a fucking name.
And now when you blow up, not Louis, it's just gonna dive that knife a little deeper.
Exactly. Get it in there. Yeah.
Alright, well, Louis, you're a bad motherfucker, man. I really enjoyed
I
talking with
really
you.
I really appreciate this. This
We'll
is
definitely do
awesome.
this again.
Hell yeah,
Alright.
definitely.
Thanks,
Right
man.
on. Thank you, man.